This conference will now be recorded.
First thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the September 16th, 2025 meeting. Do I have anybody move to approve? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Minutes have been approved.
Did you want to?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Third item is special use permit review for the dairy duck.
All right, so I taught each of you a little bit about this, and the dairy duck applied for a special use permit to operate an ice cream truck in town. So our ordinance in section 117.01 defines a peddler as any person engaged in business with no fixed place of business, who travels from place to place with an inventory of goods, which sells goods at retail or offers goods for sale at retail, and who delivers the identical goods carried with him, including his anyone who offers any article of goods or merchandise for sale from house to house, business to business, by any person on foot, on the car, truck, automobile, or other vehicle operated over and on the street and highway. So an ice cream truck would meet this definition. So it's obvious that we do have the authority in our ordinance to regulate these things. The ordinance calls for special or conditional use. Special use and conditional use, those terms are synonymous. They mean one and the same thing. And so they came to see us here in November and have submitted the application that you see in your packet tonight. So a couple of things as we get into this and start talking about this that I want you to keep in mind are that A, we're setting a precedent in this. We've not done this before that I'm aware of. But all the same, the ordinance does have this requirement in here. So when you look at special and conditional uses, the key word in all of this is reasonable. That is what the courts look at. It's what the law refers to in many instances. It's reasonable. Are the conditions that you place on this reasonable? The second thing is the precedent that you're setting. So having not done this before, this is going to be something that you need to be able to apply to the next person of similar use, these same conditions. So I want you to think about these things as you think about this tonight. Be glad to answer any questions you have. Yes, ma'am.
We had this come up before, and one of my questions is who regulates this as far as cleanliness and inspection? Now, if it's the health department, I'd like to know more. There was one time that they had to be attached to a kitchen in some respect, a brick and mortar kitchen, so that they would have the ability for hot water and to clean their whatever it was. It was a food truck, I think, at the time.
Right. So I think the difference with this versus a food truck is the ice cream it is prepackaged.
Yes.
So it's not, they're not fixing it on site. They're not cooking somewhere and then hauling. It's pre-prepared, prepackaged food. So I think that's the big thing.
So no scooters.
So I think that, well, and even that would be prepackaged. You know, they're not preparing that food. That food is in a container, they're scooping it, putting it in a cone. But I think that is a defining factor in my mind, and Ms. Contreras is on the phone. She might be able to help us with this. But all the same, I think that's a defining factor. So food trucks do have to be inspected by the health department. So they're preparing, they're in there cooking that food for you. So there's an inspection process with that. I don't think there is for pre-prepared food like this, prepackaged, pre-prepared in that instance. I think that's a good distinction to make. So if it's prepackaged, pre-prepared, I think that's different than a food truck. So the other thing that I want to make, like, put on the record tonight is this is not food trucks. Okay, so those food trucks are going to a stationary position. Those food trucks are staying there in that stationary position at least through a single meal time. And so that's something we need to consider in this. So if it's prepackaged, that can be a condition. It is prepackaged food. Okay. The other condition could be that the stop time is less than 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long that stop time. Because what we don't want them to do is go to an area at State, because they're literally serving in that same instance as a food truck would. The third and fourth things that I've thought about that we want to consider most likely is not in commercial areas. We certainly don't want our stationary merchants that pay taxes on that location to have a direct competitor right there in front of them. So I think that's something else. And the last thing in my mind that we need to consider is the hours of operation. Okay, so we want to be very clear that, and the issue that I see that could come up as far as traffic safety is if they're out there after dark, right? So if you're out there after dark, visibility is not as good. So I think the conditions need to be geared towards those things. If we decide to consider conditions on this or consider the request favorably, those are things that we need to think about and put as conditions.
So I have a specific question. Will there be any ice cream scooped?
You can unmute her. That's okay.
And my second question is, what is a battery inverter?
So a battery, I can answer the battery inverter.
Okay.
Yeah, so a battery inverter is just something that is taking power from a 12-volt battery and putting it to 120. So you take your car battery and plug 120 volt.
Is that for their freezers?
I'm not sure. I would assume.
Or interior lighting or whatever? Yeah, those were my two questions. Scoops, because I've scooped ice cream before at Dolphin Dolphin, and it's a messy job. You need a way to clean things.
But she can unmute the daughter.
Phone? Can you unmute? She's blinking.
You might need to type it in the chat. And you can type her name and it should tag her.
Hold on, let me see if I can unmute her. Send an unmute request. Look out now. Can you hear us?
Yes.
We can't hear you still.
I can hear you.
Can you hear us now? Can you speak to
I
us?
can hear you.
We can hear you now as well. Dairy Duck. Are you here on behalf of Dairy Duck?
No.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me answer that. We talked about this. It's my opinion that what we do, because we know we're going to have ice cream trucks here, right? They're going to come to town. Is I'll send a directive to the police department. What I'd like them to do is educate these folks on what our regulations are. So I don't want them writing citations for this initially. I want them out saying, hey, you have to do this to operate here in the town. So, if they disregard that, then there's always the citation of violation of the ordinance and doing that. But it would be my recommendation, my kind of directive to the police department to go out, have a conversation with them, advise them of the ordinance, and try to get them into compliance.
Yeah, like I said, I was wondering for the other trucks that drive around, the neighborhood during the summer.
Sure.
this being the first one brought to us that I know of. So,
Gene, could they have like a sticker on their front windshield that lets the police know, hey, we've gone through the process, this is done, don't have to give us the warning?
We could, and I think if we get more than two
If
or
we get, if
three,
it becomes
yeah,
something that would be
I think
concerning.
that's a great idea to do that if we get more than two or three. We've got two or three, because I can tell you if this is acted on favorably tonight, and then in December acted on favorably by the Board of Commissioners, what I would do is I'll just take this to the police department with this regulation, after I send it direct and say, hey, guys, if you see them out there, the dairy duck is authorized to be here, is permitted to be here. No one else is authorized, is permitted to be here. Please stop anybody, give them this copy of the ordinance, and if they have questions, send them to see me. Glad to talk to them.
But we still don't know.
So let me.
I can't answer, obviously, your question in full, but just looking into what they've written, they wrote only about prepackaged items.
Right. That's
But when you go to their photos,
Right.
I do see in front of the dog, which I would consider looks like something that was not prepackaged other than a container of something
And
into a cup.
on your truck, you see a duck with a big cone.
Ice cream.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why I'm asking.
And what are the concerns? Just the mess that is generated from melting
Yeah, how they're gonna clean.
clean?
You know, they're going around all day.
Mhm.
Has the health department inspected their truck?
So if it was prepackaged, they wouldn't.
Wouldn't have.
That's the thing. So
Right.
if they're preparing food there, the health department would. It's my understanding, and I never worked directly in that, but kind of in a roundabout way in my
Yeah.
former career.
Yeah.
If it's prepackaged, no. If it's not prepackaged,
Right.
then
And
they
that's,
would.
that's my specific question. Are they going to scoop ice cream? Number one. And you've explained the battery inverter thing.
Well, we could also ask Lisa if the health department inspected her
Yeah,
truck.
yeah. And how often?
Well, what I was looking for is did it list that in the application?
I didn't
So
see it.
look at that.
Yeah, there's no line there for.
Hold on. No. If they in their narrative.
It says pre-packaged frozen treats. So I want to know.
Well, we can ask the question, but
Yeah.
again, it would be a condition that you could place on it if you wanted to.
Well, my
But
only
I'm good with calling and asking.
my only concern is cleanliness.
Sure.
Because I could run into Golf and Dolphin and get hot water and clean hands and clean utensils and.
We should have a line on here that's been inspected by health department.
It's a general special use permit. Hey, Lisa, this is Jane Foxworth with Cape Carteret. How are you? Good. We're in the middle of our planning commission meeting and we've got your item before us tonight. And we had a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So-
I'm so sorry, my child is sick today, so I wasn't able to make it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, so the first question would be is, y'all are or are not inspected by the health department?
So we actually have a letter from the Department of Agriculture. We are told that we do not need to be inspected like other food trucks because they are prepackaged products that we are susceptible to getting, audited or inspected if they were to get a call, but to operate, we do not need to be inspected.
Right. So y'all don't sell any scoop ice cream or anything?
Correct.
Just prepackaged. Okay, very good. I think that's all the questions. Did y'all have any more questions for Ms. Kingery while I have her on the phone?
I do not.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, ma'am. We'll give us a call tomorrow and we can talk through the meeting tonight.
Awesome.
All right,
so much.
thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, bye-bye. All right, and that's what, and I may have had more information on this because I sat down and talked to them for an hour when they came in. So anyway, so that's that I think answers those questions. So what I would say if I was making a decision on this is that one of the conditions was that they own something packaged.
Right. Absolutely.
That could be a condition. So.
Just a couple of the things that I brought up and tell me, please, if you don't think it's important. But obviously, high traffic, high speed areas, we don't want them there. School zones, I don't think we want them necessarily in our school zones. You brought up brick and mortar. I think that's, do we set a proximity a certain distance away? Or how do we limit that?
Could we go to commercially zoned areas,
Let's
period?
go to our zoning.
The only thing about that, what if I wanted to hire them for an employee day?
All right, so that is very, very different. All right, so
Okay.
if they're.
That's a private
invited-
event.
Yeah, if they're invited on a site, be it a food truck, anything else.
Sure.
If they're invited on a site, not traversing the roads throughout the town, I think that's a different animal.
Perfect.
100%.
As long as that there's clarity there,
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree, then it would be to residential areas, not
So,
the commercial.
so I was riding along the road,
Mhm.
and the code enforcement duties, and I saw a food truck sitting over there, and there weren't people there, festival, something else going on.
Uh-huh.
I would probably pull in and say, hey, what's going on?
Right.
So, and that's probably how I would approach that. So, but I think that stop time is important as well.
Mhm.
The others would just be public parks if there's no vendor dedicated areas. For example, like the ball field, well, that's Cedar Point, right? So that's nothing that we have to worry about now. But some of those vendors, that's how they're raising money for their clubs. So that's something I would look for. Maybe we limit them from sunrise to sunset as far as the timing goes. Private property without permission, obviously. Emergency access areas, we wouldn't want them in town-owned facilities.
So I think all those are good.
I had one other one. I think we should educate them as to the roads that are private, controlled by homeowners.
Okay.
And they should obtain the permission of homeowners. For example, if they were to go into Cape Point.
Right.
Or Notes, I think, are private roads. They should certainly be consulted.
Sure. So, and I think we can do that simply with operating on state and town-owned roads. So I think that could be,
Or
again, maintained, right? So the thing is with that, again, I think all of these
Yeah.
things are reasonable. And I think, again, we're setting that precedent. So let me recapture real quick, because I feel like we're moving towards an affirmative motion with conditions.
Absolutely.
So let me recapture that so we have that for the record, so that we make sure we capture that when we take it to the commissioners. So I'm gonna cheat off your sheet real quick.
That's one thing first.
Okay.
Is that all brick and mortar establishments? Because like if they just pull into Lowe's, some guys want some ice cream that are contractors or construction workers, not Lowe's Foods, but like Lowe's Home Improvement are sitting back there.
So I would say no commercially, no.
No
So I-
commercial, that's why I'm asking.
No commercially,
Yeah.
cannot operate on commercially zoned property. This is a good one to start with. They cannot operate on commercially zoned property. May only operate on state and town maintained roadways and right of ways. Cannot operate on Highway 24, 58, Taylor Notion Road, traffic issue there. May only operate from dawn to dusk, seasonally. I got another one, having trouble with it. What was that other one?
The school zones.
Oh, that gets 24. We
Okay.
took it out because they can't
Yeah.
operate. I was thinking dually on 2 birds, 1 stone on that one. Only stop for 10 minutes or less, any location.
No blocking driveways.
No blocking driveways.
Or emergency. Well, I guess it wouldn't be how many.
That's a good one. It may only dispense prepackaged.
And you hit town-owned facilities, right?
No, I didn't get that one. No business may be conducted on any town-owned park or other facility. What did we miss? You want me to run through them again?
Please.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cheat off her this time.
Yeah, please.
I won't ever do that again.
That was good.
No commercially zoned properties, only state, town maintained roads. Can't operate on Highway 2458 or Taylor Notion Road from dawn to dusk seasonally. Stop duration can be 10 minutes or less. No blocking driveways. Only dispensing prepackaged foods. No business conducted on town-owned parks/facilities. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. There is a inconsistency. We say state maintained, but we just took all the state maintained out. So
We can,
town maintained.
I thought about that, but didn't know if we wanted to capture, we can strike that.
Yeah,
With the exception.
whatever you think.
Oh,
But
no, I can do one, better. Strike both of them and say public roadways.
with, and private with the, with,
That's right.
you know, that's what I'm saying. But if the homeowners approves, if the homeowners association approves that they can go into Cape Point or Arden Oaks, fine, but
So here's how I would address
Our
that.
note is not ours.
it is.
It's not public, and I mean, it's,
It's private. It is not town maintained.
double check that.
I just did the power bill map.
Well, why was it?
Y'all never accepted it.
Oh, we did accept it.
No, it was never, I don't think it was ever offered, and I don't think it was ever accepted. So it's not. I mean, I just did the power bill map 2 months ago.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. You saw the power bill map?
I did, and that's why I mentioned it. I
Right.
thought it was private.
So here's what I think about the private roads, and if y'all disagree with me, say you disagree. With the private owned roads, if they go in there and operate, the only recourse we're gonna have is the neighborhood calling complaint.
That's
Neighborhood
right.
calls
That's
complaints.
right.
I think it's good as a condition. I mean, I think it's a fair condition. If they go in there and the neighborhood wants them in there, what business is it of ours? It's just like any other private property owner inviting them onto their property to operate.
Exactly.
Okay. Are y'all good with those conditions?
But at least we wouldn't be inviting them.
That we wouldn't be inviting them. Yes, ma'am.
She had here that, community events throughout the town of Cape Colorado.
Sure.
She was.
Any community event that she gets invited to, anybody invites her
That's
to a
right.
community event, we wouldn't. We certainly wouldn't get involved in that.
And she would register for a town.
So if it was a
festival.
town function, it would be
Yeah,
something
yeah,
entirely different.
Absolutely.
And if the school invited her up there, I mean, that's
That's
not
right.
something the town should engage in.
Correct.
She can go up there and peddle all the ice cream she wants to on,
I think
Yeah, Stone Pro has on Ice Fridays and
I
other
like
things like that.
you got it.
Last thing, the only thing that's on my mind would be the noise. They play loud music. We permit that. That's fine, right? That's no problem.
So I
getting
don't
a
know
little
exactly
bit-
how you skin that cat.
Yeah, I
to be
don't
honest
either.
with you.
Yeah.
I was
So-
hoping you did.
Well, so our noise ordinance, and I can speak to it because I've addressed it multiple
I
times.
personally love the music. It makes
So-
it happy. There's fun things,
Well, the kids
but
know you're
Very
talking-
nostalgic.
So our noise ordinance is just like any other ordinance. Thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt. And then down there at the bottom, it says any noise deemed obnoxious could be a violation of the, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me. So I think if we had somebody that came to town and it was obnoxious, and people were calling and complaining and saying, this truck's just obnoxious, I think we would address it under that right there.
sure.
And then ultimately, if there was somebody that came in and got permitted, my play on that would be, I'm gonna revoke your permit if I get any complaints. I'm just gonna take the permit. I mean, so I think that is the good side of us actually permitting these things, because if they are doing something that's not consistent with our regulations or we deem a nuisance, I can revoke the permit.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I'm good with leaving that out.
yeah, no, I think that's a good point, but
But you can also give them that noise ordinance when you issue them the permit. Be like, hey, just be, mindful of this.
well, I don't know if this was being done before. It probably was. But Kesley and I, folks that come in and apply for something, we're spending a lot of time talking through things with people. And I think typically you don't run into as many issues, to your point, when you've explained it to them. You sit down and you've had that. And I also think it builds rapport where they don't mind calling you and saying, hey, what does this mean? Or can I do this?
Yeah.
You're not the enemy.
She
I appreciate you doing that, Dean.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
It's what we should be
Yeah.
doing.
She specifically
Build a
asked to,
positive.
to operate in parks, so that needs to be pointed out to her, that that's not gonna be allowed
That's not.
in parks.
The last thing we want them is a boat ramp on 4th of July. People are trying to circulate down there and, that's just not something we want. So,
That's right.
And free ice cream for all the planners.
Yeah, I bet she'd do it. She's a really
How did we
nice
forget that one?
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Brilliant.
So just, this is inconsequential to any of this conversation, but one of the things that this crowd impressed upon us is they keep ice cream on the truck. So if a kid comes to the truck and doesn't have money for ice cream, they give them ice cream.
Wow.
So, I mean, they
Wow.
struck us as really
Yeah.
community oriented
Great.
and kind of
Right.
inconsequential to the decision.
Certainly, but
Worth
it's
making all this.
wonderful. Thank you for
Yeah,
adding
I've heard
that.
of
Here in
people in our
Area,
town.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I do too. I do too. Y'all have any other questions on this?
I do not.
Scott, do you? Move to approve with the conditions listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
It was a good one.
Thank you for all your efforts on their
Yes,
behalf.
ma'am. Absolutely.
Goes before the board.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can make any other motion.
No, ma'am.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Work session discussion.
All right, so on at the last Board of Commissioners meeting, I talked to them a little bit about work session, made sure that they were good. We've talked about this before. And I intended to have it before now, but that didn't happen. So I did discuss it with the Board of Commissioners at the last meeting, talking about this is the kind of approach that we want to take. And I'll kind of paraphrase my conversation with them. It was to the point of, hey, look, I've gone through this ordinance. I've been doing this a long time. I've looked at a lot of ordinance. I've done it on the consultant side. I've done it working for the community side. I've done a little bit of all of that. And this ordinance is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's workable. The problem with these ordinances and the problem with this ordinance specifically is when you have a consultant that comes in and cans you an ordinance, and that's what happened. They canned us an ordinance. They took the same ordinance, and I will tell you, a lot of consultants do this. I'm not speaking specific to any one consultant, but if you'll accept the ordinance that they wrote for another community with a find and replace, they'll let you.
Mhm.
And so that's what I think happened with this after going through it. So the prior administration had looked at literally redoing the ordinance. It looked a lot like the old ordinance. There was a reason we went to a new ordinance. It's because we didn't like it. So I don't think that's the approach. I do think the approach, and there's been several things, and Kesley and I, and the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to administer this ordinance for a little while, kind of work through it. So you can look at it on the outside. When you're administering the ordinance, you see it entirely different, right? So you see people come in and they're like, that doesn't make sense. You want to look at it and be like, you're exactly right. That doesn't make sense. We should do this and not that. And so she and I have been working through some of those things. And so what I'd like to do is hold a work session with y'all. And y'all have been working with this ordinance a lot longer than I have. So you're going to have things that you know of that I just haven't gotten to an ordinance. I hadn't had a reason to get to it other than sitting down and reading it. And so again, if you read it at face value, the canned ordinance looks really good. But when you apply it, you have to actually work through the situation. You see it entirely different. So with y'all's input, I'd like to schedule a work session. And what I'd like you to do before that work session is think about these things in the ordinance that you've seen over the years. And I want you to ask the questions. I don't want to do it during a regular scheduled meeting for a specific reason. So in a regular scheduled meeting, we clip through these meetings. We should clip through these meetings. The things that we're dealing with are litigious. It's not something that you want to do in a regular scheduled meeting. It's just not. We need to be focused on the matter at hand. We need to move through the business that we have and decide on it and move on. A work session approach, you can be able to sit down and, I've sat in these things before and be like, I'm not going to ask that because it's a stupid question. Well, we want stupid questions. We want you to ask whatever's on your mind. And I very likely may tell you, I don't have the foggiest idea, but I'll research it and find out. So it's probably going to be 2 or 3 work sessions that we work through to at least do this. The other thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to keep picking away at the ordinance. I feel very strongly about making an ordinance amendment every month. A lot of people do this. It's to follow your agenda, beef your agenda up so you look like you're doing more. We don't need to do that. Like, we got enough to do without putting on what we're doing, right? And anytime you change something here, there's a high likelihood that you inadvertently affected something over here. Don't want to do that. I want to do it correctly. I think this is the way to go. So in saying that, I know we're moving into Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that. If y'all think it's wise, I'd like to have that meeting sometime, second week of December, sometime before the next meeting, sometime before Christmas, go ahead and have that first meeting. Again, I don't do anything for no reason. It's a bad habit, probably a good habit, but I do nothing for no reason. Reason being is that Christmas time, through the first of the year is usually pretty quiet for us. You don't have a lot of in and out traffic. You don't have people, they're busy doing family things and Christmas things and all those things. And so to give me an opportunity, if we can go ahead and have that, to have some time in the office to sit down before I get into budget season, and go ahead and knock that first wave of questions out. First, will y'all schedule allow for that if we try to find a mutually agreeable time to do that?
Certainly.
Yes. At this first meeting, to get things sort of out of our way, will you bring your list
Yes, ma'am.
that you've noticed?
Yes, ma'am.
And then if we bring things that we have, but it would be so helpful
Oh, I absolutely
to
will.
have yours out of the way.
I absolutely will have a list of things I want to discuss.
Right.
And it's quite possible,
Right.
again, when you ask questions, I'm not going to know the answers to them. I'll say, this is what I think. And it's quite possible that I have things on my list that somebody says, well, this is the reason it is. And I say, oh, well, that makes sense now. But again, that's that work session approach that's beneficial. Again, another strong feeling, it shouldn't last more than an hour and a half. It should be, very open dialogue, but it shouldn't last more than an hour and a half. My attention span does not allow for that. And 99% of the world's attention span doesn't allow for when you push out.
Will it
Oh,
be
into
daytime or nighttime?
It's a call meeting, so you can call it whenever you'd like.
Would y'all like to have it during the day?
If we do it during the day, I'm more than likely going to be in Kinston.
Oh, good.
So that is probably good. I agree.
Good for you.
I don't.
So if you
Unless I have a
want me
doctor's
here,
appointment, I don't have a conflict.
then
No preference, okay?
kind of,
I was just asking if anybody would like.
If we do it at 5:00 instead of 6, does that make it any easier on anybody?
I could
Anytime
leave early.
after,
Yeah,
after
that's fine.
3:30, 4 typically.
Would 4 be okay?
Available.
Would that,
I can make it work.
is 4 okay with y'all?
Yes.
Yeah, and again, if we go an hour and a half, we're gonna be at 5:30 and. So,
But not on a Wednesday.
not on a Wednesday, you got it.
I mean, that's just,
What day of the week would y'all like?
So let me do this. Let me go back and let me look at the calendar, and I'll send out an email to everyone, and propose, 3:30, on this date. And if we get a, overwhelming group that can't come, then we'll shoot for another date. If
We
get
wanted
large-
it at 4, right? Or 3.
4 would be
Four's
best,
perfect.
if that's
You got
okay.
it. You got it. I would have had to go back and read that. So 4 o'clock, you got it. But I'll shoot out some dates if that's good.
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have on that.
Well, don't do it on Friday.
No, I won't do it on Friday. I ain't saying
Wednesday, Friday's out.
at 4 o'clock on Friday, I am winding down and checking out. So,
I don't know, it might be real productive on Friday because everyone just is ready to get done.
That's right.
yeah.
What's a weekend? I don't want weekends.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody agree?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. We're gonna have a work session.
It's
Do
gonna be
we
a
have
work
to
session.
advertise that?
So it is a call meeting. We'll advertise and it is open to the public.
Okay. Right. Commissioners are invited too.
Everybody's invited. Anybody who wants to come is invited. Typically see very little interest, but they're certainly welcome.
Will it be on,
I don't intend to do that. No.
Okay, the next Board of Commissioners meeting is December 8th. Anybody like to volunteer?
I can do that one.
You want to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're getting you going.
Be there with bells
We're
on.
going you for commissioner.
Now
Get you ready.
you're getting too excited.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next issue is planning board members. Comments. Anybody like to make a comment?
well, I have one, if nobody else wants to go. I feel like I've been talking too much.
No, you haven't. That's fine.
Thank you. I would like to know why the commissioners drew you forward into this marina proposal without bringing it to the planning board.
So, marina proposal would not engage the planning board. Planning board is solely to make recommendation on zoning and other planning type. So that wouldn't be something in any community the planning board would have a recommendation on.
Well, for example, if somebody were to propose a marina elsewhere in town, that would come before the planning board, would it not?
So any permitting that we have on this could come before the planning board,
Right.
but the decision to do it or not do it would not.
Right. I have some concerns about this marina, which I'll share with you. Don't want to go into a whole big thing, but I'm concerned that the location of the area proposed is over submerged aquatic vegetation, which I always substitute the word submerged for sacred, as in eelgrass. And I'm concerned that if the request is for dredging eelgrass, it will be turned down because that's the holy grail of Campbell.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't want the contract to have already been let to a contractor who buys materials and blah, blah, blah. You see what I mean?
So as you know, I am very well versed in this.
Yes, yes,
I've dealt
I
with
know.
these things for a lot of years.
Yes,
So, in the way that the motion was made and the way that that was done, we won't let a contract until after it's permanent. So we're sitting on an existing major right now, okay? Major permit for 5. So-
application.
Right.
Yeah.
So no permit, not an
Okay, oh,
application.
oh, the
an
one that
existing, yes, ma'am,
you
an
got,
existing
okay.
major camera permit for that, right?
Yes.
So the first step in that, and I've already reached out, so I've already met with Ken on site before we ever
Mhm.
started talking about this, is to expand that permit to 10.
Yes.
So before a contract was let, contract was awarded, notice to proceed was sent. We won't have that permit in hand. So the other part of that permitting is a building permit to do that as well. All those things have to take place before a contract.
You're talking about the river.
No, boat lifts
Oh,
and slip.
Right.
And what was the percentage allowed for you to increase if it goes over?
I don't understand your question.
At the meeting, you were
I think it was
authorized
10%.
10%. Okay. And then my next question is, without having seen all the bids, I have no idea if that would have sent it over to the next bidder. Just,
So that would not be what the initial contract was for. So standard, like local government procurement, you don't figure in those change orders because you don't know the change order. So I spec it pretty tight, and that's very important. I can speak to the fact that that's not done frequently, in a lot of things. We spec it pretty tight, so we know what it is, right? So I can't tell you that we're not going to have change orders. I can't tell you that. But we would have to, unless the other bids were not reasonable or not responsive. That would be the only reason we could disqualify this bids, correct? So the change order that we don't know whether it happened or not is not consequential to them. That makes sense.
well, not entirely, but that's okay.
How would you can't tell the future.
I know you
what that
can't. Oh,
potential
I
is,
know
right,
you
right.
can't.
You just, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I just didn't want us to award a contract, and I understood from the meeting that the contract was awarded to Sandal.
Right, so regardless of the interpretation of whether it was awarded or not, you haven't done anything until there's a notice to proceed.
Okay.
Notice to proceed is not going to be issued until after we have our permits in hand, because there is 120 days contract limit on it, right? So how could I fairly award a contract to a contractor, right?
Yes.
And then I might be 120 days to get a permit.
Right.
I don't know.
So are we going after the permit or is the
So
contract?
we're getting the permit.
Excellent.
And then I'll issue the notice to proceed upon having the permits. And then the 120 days will start, and then liquidated damage will start after the 120 days. I think that's the only reasonable way to do it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
500 feet rule.
Pardon?
Is there a 500 feet rule?
I don't understand. I don't know any 500 people.
Not familiar with what you're talking about.
With the marine fishery? No. Unless,
I'm not aware of it.
I've been a county LPO for
12 years now. I'm not familiar
Well, I
with
knew you
500
can't do
feet.
a boat ramp within 500 feet of each other, right?
I'm not familiar
I've
with
never
that.
heard of that
I'm
either.
not
That's a
familiar with
Martite, that's a Martite.
Well, Chris Cotton and I have boat ramps within
that. You did?
100 feet.
Yeah, I'm
of
not,
each
I'm not
other.
familiar with that. So.
But I built mine first, if that matters. Well, we'll see. I just,
There's no regulation that says that.
yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
and I'll
Good questions.
bring you all my info and stuff.
Thank you.
Well, I should be thanking you. You're bringing me all the customers from Cedar Point, Pelletier, Vogue, and the rest of the world to use my ramp.
There you go.
Should be thanking you.
Okay, we'll make a motion to adjourn. Anybody else have any comment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you all.
And Gina, we'll wait for your email on the meeting,
We'll get you one.
the work session.
Being recorded.
I like
This
hanging out with
conference
y'all.
Will now be
Oh,
recorded.
you're too good,
I like hanging out with y'all.
too good, too good.